Hi guys, welcome back to the final part of our arrow making project. Right, what we're going to do this time is we're going to do what's called cresting, and that's basically making the arrows individual to you, or making them into a set which is readily identifiable as a set of arrows. Now there's a few reasons for doing this. One, like we've just made, well I've just made here, I've actually got two very similar sets of arrows, but in two different weights with two different fletching lengths. So in order to make them easily identifiable, I'm going to crest them in different weights and then possibly number them as well, and I might even write my name on them. So that's one reason for doing it, is to differentiate between sets of arrows. For instance, some of my longbow arrows, if I can find some, here we go. I'll tell you what, I'll put my glasses on so I can actually see. Now we've got two different sets of longbow arrows. Now if you notice, they're actually very similar, but the difference is there is different weights within these sets. If I remember rightly, these ones are 450 grain and these are 400, or vice versa. I might have actually written it on them. No, I can't see. I don't think I have on these. I see that's another thing you can write on, is information about the arrows. But as you can see, they've got a set of banding, like a brown and silver, and then we've got gold with black lines, and at the end here, even though they've both got the silver band with numbering in, they're actually different arrows. And they've also differentiated them again by the colours on here. Now you don't just have to use paint or pens or whatever, you can use tape. These are actually duct tape ducklings, which come in lots of different patterns. And as you can see, I've got a zigzag pattern there and a sort of leopard spotty pattern there. That's another way you can use, something else you can use to differentiate and to crest. And I've also wrote my name down the shaft to one side of the cock feather as well. I think you're going to do it on one, yeah. And if you can, I mean, you can even write onto the fletchings as well. So everything to do is about differentiating your arrows from different sets of arrows and from different shooters' arrows as well. One of the main reasons for cresting your arrows is if you've bought, say you bought a set of bog standard factory arrows, and you turn up at your club and there might be 3 or 4 years with the same set of arrows, like for instance a set of star 35s or something like that. Now you need to be able to differentiate between your arrows and the shooter next to you, especially if you're shooting on the same target. So cresting is another way of doing that. And cresting is actually, if you're going to compete, it's actually mandatory as well. They have to be readily identifiable as your arrows. Now it doesn't, at least I don't think, it never used to say how the cresting had to be done, but it had to be done in such a way as to be readily identifiable as your own arrows. So, lots of different ways of doing it. You can use tape, you can use, I mean you could put another piece of heat shrink on here in a different colour, lots of things. But what I've got here, to make it easy, the traditional way by the way is to use paint and a cresting machine and actually paint bands of colour. A more modern version on that take is to use pens. I've got Sharpies and permanent markers. I've got gold, silver and bronze, or gold, silver and copper. I've got red, blue and green, the primary colours. And I've got some metallics here as well. I think there's a gold, a green, a blue and a purple metallic. You could use them. So basically what I'm going to do with with this arrow, which I'll then do in all the others, is I think we'll have a red band, and easily what I've done basically is I've got a big cotton bobbin, which has actually got thonging on it, and I've put that over the end of the knock, and you can turn it and actually create quite a neat, I mean, you can actually do it like that. Just hold your fingers steady, your hand steady, and just turn the bobbin instead, and you end up with quite a neat, and then you just colour it in. So I'm going to go all of half of the bottom half of this white heat shrink is all going to be red, and I think on the other set of arrows I'll do the whole of the bottom half in blue. So it doesn't have to be much in order to identify it. There we go. So just a simple red band, and then what I might do actually is put a black band through the centre, if I can actually hold my hand steady enough and see what I'm doing. Yeah, and I've gone off the line already. You can actually buy machines specifically for doing this, and they basically consist of a chuck, like a drill chuck, and an electric motor and a support, and then you just put the arrows in, start it turning, and then just hold your pen or your pencil, so your pen or your paint or whatever, steady, and allow it to rotate. And what else I'm going to do is, not at this stage, but after I've shot these arrows a few times and I start to realise what the characteristics are like, I'm going to number them, and it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on how many is in the set. And basically I'm going to do that because it's entirely possible that if you're shooting an end, your first arrow might be your worst arrow. So you need to use the best, so your first shot may be your worst shot of the 3, and you might be consistently shooting that way, so that your worst, the first is the worst and your last becomes the best shot. So what you would do there, to minimize the badness of the shot, use your best arrow. If there's any difference between them, so you fire your best arrow first to try and negate the worst shot. Could be because you haven't balanced or whatever. There's lots of really different reasons why that sort of thing can happen. But generally speaking, you would number your arrows and always shoot them in the same order. That increases the consistency of your ends each time you're shooting, especially if you're competing. You need to minimize variation if you're competing especially. And it can help in your own personal search for excellence within archery. So anyway, so that's that. And what else I think I might do is, I think I'm going to put a silver band just below the red. And because we're going up to the edge of the heat shrink, I'll just draw a line in all the way around and then colour in up to the bottom edge of the heat shrink. Right, there we are. Done. That's simple. And there we have a 3-colour cresting. Got silver, red and white, with black in between the two. And then what you can do at a later date, I would use the white section to mark your numbers into. And what else you can do, if you've got a pen that's fine enough, so look, see what, God, I can't even get the top off. Let's have a, yeah, write your name. If you can't see well enough to do this, you could always con one of the kids. Or get a friend round, like I said last night, couple of beers, and if you trust him when he's drunk, let him write your name on the arrows. That's something I do with most of my arrows, is write my name on it. Right, anyway, that's that dead simple one, nice and cheap and cheerful. Grab your arrows, get some pens, that's the easiest way of doing it. If you feel confident enough, get some paint or whatever. But you can buy wraps, which are quite good, where you actually get sheets of vinyl, which are made in the right length for the diameter of the shafts, and just wrap them round. And it's ready and done. You can get some really fantastic flame effect patterns and stuff like that. And it doesn't add a great deal of weight to the arrow. But anyway, there you go. Get your pens and pencils out and your paints and all that sort of stuff. Get creative, have a bit of fun. So that's a relaxing, fun end to the project. Leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think. Now this was just a basic arrow building session. There are other things you can do which we haven't touched on, such as ballasting your arrows, balancing the arrows, individually spining actually, because these arrows that I've made this time around are spined within a 5 pound spine range. You can actually take that down so they're all exactly the same spine rating. So you could end up with a set of 6 arrows, all exactly the same length, exactly the same weight, with exactly the same spine, with some really fancy fletching on them. Now that applies for sighted and non-sighted archers, and it might be something we touch on in another video. But anyway, for that one, hope you enjoyed the series. 7 videos in all. Arrow making made easy. Any comments? Leave them in the comment section. Please like, subscribe and share, and we shall talk again soon. Cheers guys.